There you go. Welcome back. National Migraine Headache Awareness Month is here, and millions of Americans battle the grip of debilitating migraines. But hope is in the air. Hope is in the form of a brand new migraine relief supplement line that is being launched by our Dr. Kenneth Munnerlyn. Doctor, thank you. Welcome to the show.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. We know a lot of people that just can't shake it. I got this headache. I can't get rid of it. Sometimes you'll be on the phone with somebody. I got this headache. I got to go lay down. I got this headache. And they're dealing with a number of different things. Some of them can be allergies. Some of them can be just something that comes on, a reaction to what you're eating, or there's a number of things out there, right, Doc?
Yeah. And a lot of people who have migraine, it tends to run in families. So the incidence is about 50% of people have a genetic reason for having migraine headaches.
Yeah.
Now, some of those things that will provoke it tends to be things that you mentioned before, like foods, cheese, chocolate, cured meats and nitrates, things like that. It tends to have sort of a migrainogenic type of effect on people.
Yeah. Well, what prompted you to create your own migraine relief supplement?
Well, as a neurologist, I've pretty much dedicated my life to sort of brain health and helping people be healthier and fuller in how they live. But my journey for migraine it was more of a personal story with my son. And my son developed migraine headaches when he was 5 years old. He's about 6.5 right now.
Yeah.
And it was a scary moment when he was crying and he kind of passed out, went to sleep. And it was a scary feeling, to see that in my son. Now, as a neurologist, I treat migraine for a living, and I've been
Yeah.
doing that for over a decade now. It made me really think about also all the countless patients that I've seen that want a natural alternative to prescription medications and how they treat their migraine. So most people are worried about the side effects and things like that. They just want a more holistic approach. But as a physician and a parent, I just figured, let me come up with something that might offer a better way for people. So that's pretty much why I created this supplement. And so it's backed by science. We're using things like magnesium, B2 vitamin, feverfew, and one of the things that we're using that's a little bit different is probiotics.
Yeah. So, but you studied Western medicines, right?
Hmm.
But you said, you know what? But you know how that works.
Right.
But it seems like when you got your son involved, you said, wait a minute, I got to get right down to it. I got to find something that will get more to the root of the problem that's not so maybe powerful. Because when you get into supplements, it's a little more subtle. It gets in there. Although you can find something that's a little stronger. But
Right.
but chemotherapy instead of supplements, meaning chemical therapy, chemicals instead of supplements. Sometimes doctors want to go straight to it, but you found something different.
Well, I've always sort of had an integrated approach to medicine in general. I mean, I practice allopathic medicine, but also there are things that people did back in the day that were also effective. The
Ah,
medicine man was telling people to chew on willow bark, and we later called that aspirin. So, there was something that could be said for, using that integrative approach and how we
yeah,
treat patients. And again, for what we're doing, we're taking natural supplements, again, things like magnesium, B2 vitamin, CoQ10, and the probiotics as, these are things that have been studied as well.
yeah,
So, for the treatment of migraine, for example, B2 vitamin, I use a lot in my pregnant patients because I'm so cautious about giving
yeah,
other medications that might affect the development of the baby.
yeah,
So, but there is research behind it, and it is known to be effective in migraine prevention as well.
yeah. So probiotics deals with the intestines and everything
Hmm.
because you can get a headache from that. You can get a headache from not eating.
No, that's true. And the thing about the gut health is, there's a whole concept called the neural gut axis, and that's going on in discussing or really about the concept of how your gut and your brain works together.
Yeah,
So, for example, 90% of serotonin is produced in your gut. And serotonin is implicated in things like depression as well as migraine headaches. So
yeah,
those types of things might be helpful in mood. If you look at your Prozacs and Zoloft, those are working through those serotonin channels as well. So,
Yeah.
we're kind of tackling it from a more holistic approach and from an inflammation perspective, as well as the antioxidants and things like that, sort of anti-inflammatory effects
Yeah.
of what we're
The
doing.
Egyptians were up to something years ago, back in the day. They went to colonics and everything. They
Uh-huh.
knew that something was happening with the insides. We need to keep these things clean so that we can live a little longer. So
It
they,
is
they
true.
knew something was up. And I'm glad
They
you
do.
found something for your son,
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
which helps us to, use it for people that are having. I have a niece that she's always complaining about the migraines. And
Mhm.
sometimes she just can't take it for like days at a time.
Yeah, and many of the patients that we see in our clinic, the average person, they're having migraines once a week. Some people are having them every day, multiple times a day. And it affects people's life. It affects your quality of life. It affects
Yes.
people's ability to work, to have relationships. People are having to call off of work. And so our goal was to try to find something, again, that didn't really have much side effects, but also affected your headache intensity as well as the frequency. So people can use this as a primary treatment or supplement for migraine prevention or as an adjunct. So if you're taking an everyday medicine and you're still resistant, this would be an add-on to that treatment.
Yeah. But there'll be no reaction to taking both, right?
No, there's no reaction. You don't have to worry about any sort of drug interactions and things like that. And we keep in mind most of these things are naturally occurring. So magnesium, these are in foods, the B2 vitamins and things like that, CoQ10. These are all things that are naturally occurring. So you're not really worried about side effects from anything else that you're taking.
Yeah, yeah. And what makes Dr. Munnerlyn's migraine relief different from other migraine supplements?
Well, again, I think the bigger thing that's making us difference is we're tackling the neural gut axis and how our gut is affecting our migraine, our energy levels, our mood, and things like that. It also helps improve your immunity as well. And so we're adding on the probiotics to this because I think that the probiotic addition will have a significant benefit in migraine
Yeah,
prevention.
I like that the magnesium that you put in there also. It helps clear out some things too.
It does. It'll keep you regular too.
Yeah,
But also, again, it's good for things like sleep,
yeah,
for
that's true.
relaxation, mood, and things like that. A lot of
Yeah,
people are using it for that too.
that's good. That's good. And how long does it take for someone to start seeing the results?
You normally in these situations, I would say probably about 8 weeks. But with that being said, there are other benefits that you'll see early. So by 8 weeks or so, probably max at 12 weeks, you'll see a
Mm-hmm.
significant reduction in the migraine intensity, the migraine frequency, but also some of the added benefits that you'll see much sooner because these things are still good for
Yeah.
overall health. You'll see things like better sleep, better mood, better energy, and things like that that'll come much sooner.
Doc, do you have any tips for people who are suffering or dealing with the migraines to deal
Probably
with it
one of the
naturally?
mhm. One of the bigger things, probably the single thing that probably would make the most difference is making
Mhm.
sure you stay very well hydrated.
Ah,
Dehydration is one of the more common causes of people having these migraines. They go to the pool, they go out drinking, and they get dehydrated from that. And so, aggressive hydration is the one thing of all these things that will make the biggest difference in that.
is it seasonal? People think that they get thirsty more in the summertime than in the wintertime. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, there is some seasonal component, usually with changes of season. So if you have
Mm.
changes in barometric pressures,
Mhm.
that can provoke migraine in people that have a tendency to have migraine in the first place. So that's probably one of the bigger things with that.
Can you still take the supplement if you just want to, you don't have the migraines, but you still want to improve your health?
You can, and you can see a lot of these supplements sold in isolation. So you can go out and buy your probiotics for one thing, and then your magnesium for another thing. And it's good for overall health. So our goal was to put it all together. It's actually much cheaper to do that too
Yeah.
than go take a bunch of pills and take all of your 4 pills of magnesium. So it is good for general health as
Mm.
well. So again, helps with better sleep, better mood, better energy, and overall better health.
Will it help a person think a little bit better? Brain health.
Right. Most definitely.
Yeah, good, good, good. Where can people find you?
So they can find us at www.drmunnerlyn.com and also on Facebook, Dr. Munnerlyn Supplements for Life.
Dr. Munnerlyn, thank you so much. And you got to come back. Our house is your house.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
You got it. All right.
All right. Take care.
Dr. Kenneth Munnerlyn, founder and Dr. Munnerlyn's Migraine Relief.